Hello, hello, and welcome to Nature's Galaxy. I am your host and talkative friend Luna. Thank you so much for stopping by and trusting me with your cards. Sagittarius. So, I got overstimulated earlier today, so part of me was just like, let me just kind of spend some time with myself, or at least the attempt to do so. Pop my spine on that one. I'm standing up right now so I can kind of like alleviate some of this tension at least. But I see the cards in front of me and I have my microphone, so wherever I kind of go, the microphone's going with me. Hope you don't mind this new setup for today. And recently, I just don't want to be on camera. Going back to the gym soon, so it's kind of like I need a little bit more privacy. And maybe it's like the Scorpio placements within me. I definitely need to secure that outlet, and part of it has a lot to do with privacy. So, for the Sagittarians that have Scorpio placements, I think you know what I mean by that too. But either way, your reading is a little interesting. I think you also can feel this overstimulation as Uranus slowly moves into your seventh house, making your second house of Capricorn pretty intense. Like you want to achieve because everyone's rushing into this toxicity of wanting to be right, wanting money, wanting to do the right thing, trying to find someone to blame. Edits are very important at this time, but toxicity is something that your mind is kind of stuck on. And maybe if it's not stuck on it, it's hard to find your way out of this cholesterol maze. Expansion seems to be heavily challenged with Uranus coming into, but this has been happening for a while. This isn't something that like is almost popping out of thin air. It's just certain situations are becoming pretty deep. Divine timing here. Certain things are mixed with destiny right now. Certain things are mixed with the shadow on the wall. So, right now it says that your vitality is here, your community is here. Maybe that's a surprise to you. Maybe it's a surprise that people want to wake up your Capricorn placements. It feels for them like it's underdeveloped. Perhaps they're right, perhaps they're not. But the term you missed the plot, you missed the target, and other people waking up to how you have missed the target for some of you, I feel like that's more of like a masculine energy or feeling that's coming through, or if you've had to truly stand in that masculine energy for a while. Some of you, you're just breaking free. You need that freedom, even if certain things shake up a bit. I think you are overall thinking of expansion. You're thinking about moving. You're thinking about how to show up and change, who to listen to. And maybe you're even challenging that coming up to a certain degree because you want to make sure you want certain things spotless. Be careful asking too much from other people at this time. It's not saying to lower your standards to any degree, but there's a shift. And this shift is something to know ahead of time if you can. So hopefully this message also is getting to you in the nick of time. All right, moving forward. This card says you have it already. Surprise, money. Money's coming in, money is changing. If things have started slow for you or they've been slow for years, now you see the momentum Now you're giving up on a few things in terms of like validation from the wrong places. That's kind of what I'm getting. You know what I feel like while I'm kind of like standing up right now? You know how like when you're on the phone with someone, now some people like y'all can sit down for a while. But for me, I'm definitely like a walker when I'm on the phone. I'm just like, yeah, this and yeah, this and yeah, this, and I'm X, Y, and Z. So if you have ever been on the phone with me, I guess this is you're used to this. There's something interesting here when it comes to you have it already and toxic underneath it, right next to money. Some of you have left a job because it's just not worth it. The money was toxic, the job was toxic. This bias of you finally made it. It's always crushing, it's always disappointing, it's always going to come with a certain level of disillusionment. And I don't even mean to like put sarcasm even on like what I'm saying either. It's just it is what it is. So you're looking at where to go next, as there are people who want to build, but also it seems like you don't want to be the first test subject of someone failing and they don't know they're going to fail. So this has something to do with trying to find another job somewhere else, whether you're with a job right now, whether you left a job. Your morality with Saturn and Aries, Pluto, you know, opposing Leo, you have almost like a clear pathway now with some zigzag ways you've been going about life. This is what I'm channeling right now as I'm kind of thinking about this, not just the shift, but the geometric pattern and different uh, spherical Rubik's cube, like I don't know, this is like what's going on in my brain where it's just like, okay, the planet is here, it's going to be opposing this, the planet is here, it's going to be opposing this. Obviously there's going to be changes here and there. The fire energy does have a seat back. For a while you have felt like, oh dang, like I gotta keep hurting to a certain degree. And now with the air signs having a little bit more power, again, it's going to give you like a new type of pathway, no matter how zingy, I guess that's the word that's coming through. Definitely the word that's coming through. You don't want to give up a certain level of yourself. This spastic type, this happy type, this fun maxing to a certain degree. Some of you are just like, what are you even talking about right now? You show up for work, you do what you have to do, and you move on. Okay, I hear you. I'm just not in a job like that, I assume. So I know I always try to gravitate towards jobs that let my personality kind of just like shine through. But, I could be wrong, when it comes down to being in big business, being in corporations, I guess to a certain degree. Or maybe it's just, your personality. We got this Capricorn card right here. Divine timing when it comes down to your job at this point in time. I can't really tell you what the divine wants you to understand right now in terms of your job, but it is saying something around divine timing. Whether you're putting yourself out there, whether you're finding time to rest a little bit more. Look, friends, I've been telling Sagittarians that evil word for a few weeks now, but I still hope that you have been listening to me a little bit when it comes down to resting. True rest. I understand you hate that word. I understand. Then why do you keep saying it? Because it needs to be said. And I hope that I can have the same grace in return. Hold on one second. Okay. For a moment, I was just like, how long have I been recording? And I haven't pushed play, but no, I've been recording this whole time. Cool. Awesome. Be like, ah, dang. Add it to the list, add it to the pile. The small disappointments. But anyway, no, it's recording. Thank God. I'm just looking at these cards again. And also potentially trying to see what you might see or need to understand. But I think to each their own sometimes when I am doing the readings, mainly because I can't always relate. And I don't think I'm supposed to relate to every message that kind of pops out here and there. So if you have your own message, you see certain things that I don't see, then I would say take that, but also with a grain of salt. Let it play out. Okay. When it comes down to business, when it comes down to money, your card, your affirmation is I expect amazing opportunities today. This is what you're walking into the week with. So even if it is a time of expect the unexpected, just know it is going to work out somehow and also in your favor. If this has anything to do with paperwork, if this has anything to do with community and service and different things you need to show up for, be careful what you consume. The vitality card here says you will magnetize more things the more you consume better. But I also know when it comes down to like where some people live, these big companies kind of cheat you out of it. They cheat you out of your human right nourishment, true nourishment. So if you have been falling into not being able to feel like you're going to pay certain things off, they are going to pay off. It does feel like, again, it's one of those times now where it's almost harsh and almost cruel to say, where Uranus is just like, I want to see what you're made of. And Sagittarius energy is just like, that's so insulting. How could you, Uranus, this big planet, this big instrument, teacher instrument of the sky, how could you say it? Like, it's so exhausting to even try to finish the thought, the sentence, but that's what it's coming in and doing. You are not going to be the same after this transit is done. That is what the planet seems to be channeling. But I'm also then channeling from the Sagittarius, where it's just like, but can you see the resources in front of me? This deep internal intrinsic healing will be happening in one way or another. You're going to be able to see the micro versions of what needs to change within your own healing, financially speaking, physically speaking, mentally, emotionally. This macro feeling is starting. Uranus keeps bringing me back to this energy of just moving forward, even if it is a little sideways, because Uranus does travel sideways naturally. Uranus in your seventh house also wants to get rid of how you could be a toxic partner to anyone. Any toxic partner that you have, they want that behavior to be exposed. It doesn't have to necessarily be the judgment that, that card is not here for this overall judgment. But I believe I said this in another reading. If you're having certain arguments with the people around you, remember that you trust yourself and them to have these conversations, to have these disagreements, to try to find a way through, or even to find yourself in the middle of certain things. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to go one way or the other. And I know I'm being very Libra about that right now, where it's just like it's okay to be neutral about certain things. So, some people, for some of you, feel like your individuality is very tender at this point in time. For others of you, you have found art through that vulnerability. You have found that vitality in your outlets. You have it already. Surprise. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the angel, the devil in this situation? But at the end of the day, it's asking about your achievement and character. What do you practice in the mirror? What does the shadow see? Is it the same? Is it the same vulnerability or is it different? So we have the Nine of Wands here between the Divine Union and money. Vulnerability and vitality seem to, in your reading, sit at the same table. And they're trying to drink out of green, pink, and gold cups. They're trying to find the innocence, the white, the color, from different spectrums of healing. Where do you find yourself at the very beginning? Or do you find yourself in growth? Do you find yourself in compassion? Potentially control? Or do you find yourself among the great? You know, there is a scale here, it seems, with those colors in particular. Especially the green and gold. I don't know, for some of you, you could get more jewelry actually in terms of green and gold. And it might help raise your frequency to attract more of what you want towards you. Again, whatever that is in reference to financial healing, emotional healing. But there's also the conversation between all of your energetic forms and bodies and levels of what you've been through. Am I going deep in this reading? Am I not going deep in this reading? I don't know. I did see 1818 on the timer. Interesting. It could mean something for the Sagittarians at this time. You know, as Jupiter rolls out of this Cancer energy. I think some of the angel numbers obviously are going to go with it. Some people next year or in the next few months, maybe the next few weeks, they are going to show you their true form in terms of their spirituality, in terms of their religion, in terms of how they treat the unknown, good, bad, and or indifferent. Because right now, you can't escape it. The angel numbers, the guidance, a certain guidance, is everywhere when it comes down to Jupiter and Cancer. It's very specific. But the universe, most of the time, wants to shield you away from too much hurt. So it tries to develop this intuition, this inner knowing, this instinct. So even with this Cancer energy, it has been beneficial to you with certain cushions, Sagittarius. And I think you know this as well. But as it moves into Leo, people are going to start having a little bit more of that critique before Jupiter goes into Virgo. And I know that's a 2 year from now process, but I like when my brain kind of goes that far, especially when I'm doing channelings like this, readings like this, because I do have a passion for it. It's taken me a minute to like be comfortable with saying that in front of like individuals because there was such a backlash, but I've had an interest in it for so long, and people again, they're growing with this knowledge. I mean, Jupiter and Cancer is just like we want answers. We want to be able to stain certain answers to push us forward, to push us through. And a lot of people later have come back and been like, hey, what about this energy? What about this energy? What about this energy? This is fascinating. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. From the question of what non belief is and the teeter tottering energy between someone just not knowing. Which makes sense. As it goes into Leo, people start to make fun of what they even found inspiration in. Can I say that early? So you're prepared? Also, studying the planets has helped ground me. I know as like a little kid, I've had these really big books about the planets, and it's always been very terrifying, this void that we all kind of sit in. It's very untethering. But when I study the planets and the meanings, it grounds me. So the maturity over the years, being like, oh, this is this way and this is this way. And some things can't be explained. That's where faith comes in. That's where humanity comes in. That's where a lot of different factors start to sit at the table. Not all at once, but in between certain things that happen in life, it's nice to have certain versions of being grounded. Some people find that in their version of faith, which is fine. But I just, I was the kid that always wanted to know more. I'm hungry for knowledge. I'm hungry for sustainability. I think that's also why I don't watch a lot of movies or TV shows sometimes. Like here and there, I can watch trash, but I can't watch trash TV. I'll watch it if one of my friends is watching it, and even then, I'm not going to be around for too terribly much longer. There's not much for my hunger to like really latch on to. Need more. I didn't know the camera was shaking. I have heavy ankles, so I always need to mind how I step sometimes because even walking back to the tap, I'm like, oh no, it's shaking. But I think, Sagittarius, I have reached the end of your reading. I hope this has helped. Oh, one more thing. So, in terms of romance, the card that came out was My life is not as together as it seems. You are them. They're waking up to the fact that you're getting smarter if you're single. They don't like that. They don't like that one bit. Oh no, who cares? But outside of that, I think it does mirror something back to you, but they see something in you, and the insecurity may want to settle, and you don't want that energy. Believe me, you don't want that energy. It's like a breeding ground for resentment to a certain extent because maybe there's somebody long term that they can see on their level and you're just above that. Don't take it personally. Even though you're allowed to feel in the moment or when it comes up, when your body is like, hey, I need to purge this real quick. Okay. Take a few cheers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wipe them off. And then you're done. If you're in a long term relationship and that seems to be the case where you're separating. Not for all of you. Okay, not for all of you. No, no, no. Not for all of you. Okay. Absolutely not. I have to keep saying it like that because I don't mean to like accidentally push the panic button on like anybody, especially the Sagittarians. No. Okay, no. So, if you're in a long-term committed partnership and you have separated, let me correct myself. You have separated, you know that you know you want to stop the cycle. However, that is read for you. In terms of this, my life is not together as it seems like someone's biology has separated from the other. Like, for instance, what I'm kind of getting is some, like, a woman's been on birth control, and after she got off birth control, she couldn't stand the sweat of the person that she was with. And, or maybe someone's eating habits are different from the other. It could be religious factors, it could be family, but there is something that has disconnected the easygoing frequency that was present before. So this is something that needs to happen and or will happen for some of you if you already know that separation is here. If you're in a long-term committed partnership, you guys have been together for a long time, you don't see anything bad going downhill for you guys. I do feel like toxic jobs seem to be the main focus right now in your relationship. You're tired. They're tired. You both love each other. You're both still attracting and saving what you can, but you want more. My life is not together as it seems. Both of you are thinking this as a unit, as a one entity. You want more. You want more financial growth. But there's a certain level of like this selfishness. You're teeter-tottering behind the two, and it seems like you're still trying to find the morality in it. Are you being toxic asking for more money, or is it toxic of you to ask more money? I don't think morality has anything to do with it unless like you're truly out here like cheating folks. Does that make sense? If you're not cheating folks, I mean, that shouldn't really be a question. If you feel insecure or they feel insecure, maybe for the time being, it's just not the right place, the right environment. Putting in more resumes just seems to be bringing down the vibe even more because both of you want more. Like, there's such an energetic power grab here in terms of finances between where you live, how you're being treated, the income that both of you seem to be going through at this time. There is going to be, from what I'm getting channel wise, 3 to 5 months, there is going to be a needed change. So this may have something to do with Pluto being in retrograde. So by September, things might change. By the time August comes around the corner, things will change. Okay. July, August, something in between there. So there could be two financial opportunities around that time that you need to be aware of for both of you. Okay. So if you are in a toxic relationship overall with the situationship, my life is not together as it seems, you need to stop. You need to push the stop button. With all of this, you need to have this new giving towards yourself as a person. Stop running. Stop running, trying to chase whatever tail that is out there. If you are a man and listening to this, your health could potentially be on the line the more you try to chase. At this time, you need to be a lot more disciplined. You don't have to believe me. I understand at times people do run into that brick wall with me. You don't have to believe me, but the more research that's out there, the more things that I've been reading about as well, it's best to not hold other people to the standard that you need to hold yourself to, because you need to find your own vibration now. You need to detox from the entities that you have taken upon yourself as a spiritual being. Again, you don't have to believe me, but I would like to assume you're here for a reason. If you are a woman and you've been in these really toxic dynamics here and there, I just feel like you might actually be in the reverse when it comes down to the men. You're having fun. You're having fun out here. So I don't see a tragic ending here or there. I do feel as though some people might start to show their insecurities. So they may step up, or they might start to step away. If they start to step away, that's fine. If they start turning a little toxic, give it some space. You have your own money to collect as well, your own time to reclaim as well. Divine timing with this whole thing, the arrival of it all. But either way, Sagittarius, thank you so much for stopping by, trusting me with your cards, and all that jazz. Whenever you're listening to this, I hope you have a great morning, noon, evening, or night. If you would like a personal reading, you can find my information down below. Other than that, Sagittarius, I'll talk to you next time on the wave.